But let's move into the main event, our mock draft 4.0 for the 2019 NBA season. I know most people are going to be like, oh, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. We get it. We haven't been doing these for 3 years or anything like that. We're not entitled to our own opinions. So if you have your own opinions, let us know down in the comments. But don't say we're idiots. Let us know why we're idiots. Let's try to make it a conversation because...
I mean, I could have told you I was an idiot already.
Yeah, we don't need you for that.
We already know he's an idiot. You've known him forever.
My entire life.
But the thing is that we're going to have a mailbag next week. So we do want a conversation. We do got you guys' opinion. Tell us where we're wrong. Tell us what you think. That's what the point is.
And it's tourney time, so one game. We're complete idiots on the best of one game.
Exactly. I think Ricky put one guy in because of the tournament he's probably going to have in his mock draft, but you got to stay till 21 through 30. That's how we break it up. We got 1 through 10 for the NBA, then we're going to go 11 through 20, and then we'll go 21 through 30. If you're listening on iTunes, that does not matter because you're going to be listening to the full podcast. So it's Caleb Martin. Relax.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought
first,
it was.
yeah.
You were like freaking out. You're like, oh,
I was intrigued.
There's the guy that's only on your board because of his tournament last year. So if he does well in the tournament this year, he's probably going to go up.
Caleb Martin.
You haven't had him on a mock draft yet.
Yeah, but it's changed.
But now it's March.
Season progresses.
But now it's
Let
March.
us know your thoughts down in the comments because we will have a mailbag next week. That's the point I was trying to make. But let us know. Give us reasons why because we do want to feature you guys' thoughts and opinions. But Ricky, start us off with your mock draft 1 through 10.
Starting it off with the absolute obvious, do I even have to say it? The Knicks, the Mecca. They get their guy Zion Williamson, number 1, going to the New York Knicks. Then at number 2, Ja Morant, the rightful number 2, in my mind, going to the Phoenix Suns, guard out of Murray State. Then the Cavs, RJ Barrett out of Duke, easy pick for them. Then the Bulls, a little bit of a hard one, but I'm still going to go with Cam Reddish, the forward, out of the Duke Blue Devils. Then the Hawks at 5 and 6 with the double pick. First at 5, they'll take Jarrett Culver out of Texas Tech. Then roll that into 6 via the Mavs. Take Romeo Langford because Romeo's crying that he lost to Ohio State recently out of Indiana. Then the Grizzlies, they will go with Rui Hachimura out of the Gonzaga Bulldogs. The Wizards, going to go with Bol.
Did you listen to me?
Oregon, what?
Was this from the argument last time?
For what?
The Bol
thing. Going to the Wizards? Because I made Sean.
I will say this. I'm going to say this right now.
Yep.
I did my mock draft on Wednesday at first.
Yep.
And it was Wizards at 7, Grizzlies at 8. And I originally had Rui to the Wizards, DeAndre Hunter to the Grizz. But then the Grizz went to 7, so the Wizards were not going to take DeAndre Hunter. They're going to go with Bol. But DeAndre Hunter will go 9 to the New Orleans Pelicans. And at number 10, the LA Lakers or the LA LeBrons will go with Jackson Hayes, the center out of Texas.
Well, and remember, the Wizards fan said he was going to cause himself self-harm if the Wizards took DeAndre Hunter. So I think that's one reason
why.
I
didn't want to do that. I'm like, I'll shake it up just for you.
Yeah,
just wait till Dave and I pick. Dave, give us your 1 through 10.
Sure thing. Obviously, the second overall pick, I've got the Suns going with Ja Morant. Third overall pick, I've got the Cavs going with RJ Barrett. At 4, I've got the Bulls taking Jarrett Culver. At 5, the Hawks taking Cam Reddish. 6, I've got the Hawks going Jackson Hayes. 7, the Grizzlies are going with Darius Garland. At 8, the Wizards are taking DeAndre Hunter. I'm sorry. At number 9, the Pelicans are taking Kevin Porter Jr. And at number 10, the Lakers, Keldon Johnson.
For audio listeners, who do you have at number 1? Because they can't see the graphic.
Oh, no. I just skipped over because if you don't have Zion Williamson going number 1, you're just wrong.
Also, it's just clear. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's...
I didn't want someone who's an audio listener thinking they missed something.
But
if you got them to backtrack, then you won. If they hit the 15-second thing to bounce it back 15 seconds, Dave wins.
I will say in our Ja Morant, RJ Barrett topic, there were people saying that RJ is the best or Ja is the best. Just prospect in general.
Well, they'd be wrong.
Just watch the past 2 games for Duke. You will see the best player in the country.
But he went 2 of 9 from the line, Sean. 2 of 9, not good.
Who?
Zion. He went 2 of 9 from the line against Syracuse, his only blemish.
He did?
Yeah.
I only cared about 13 for 13.
Yeah, I'd say he was perfect.
Anyways, yeah, that's what I was thinking. He's perfect from the line. Let's go to mine. Number 1, the New York Knicks taking Zion Williamson. 2, the Phoenix Suns taking Ja Morant. 3, the Cavs taking RJ Barrett. 4, the Bulls taking Jarrett Culver. 5, the Hawks taking Cam Reddish. 6, the Hawks via the Mavs taking Jackson Hayes. 7, the Grizzlies taking Sekou Doumbouya. At 8, the Wizards taking DeAndre Hunter. At 9, the Pelicans taking Darius Garland. And at 10, the Lakers taking Kobe White, the guard from UNC, because I think I'm the only person who put him in the top 10.
He cracked your top 10, yeah.
Also, the only person who had Sekou as well. Sekou, the French international. He's going to be the youngest player in this draft, born December of 2000. So he's going to be 18 even when the season starts. Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's insane. But let's start off at number 1, the Knicks getting Zion Williamson. I mean, it just seems like if there is any fit, like that would be the guy. He's big. He's a target for the media in a good way. He's just a lightning bolt for anything. You saw the first dunk that he had after the ACC tournament. Every single outlet was posting that dunk. Zion's back. Zion's returned. This guy is a lightning bolt for media. He is an attention grabber. That is a star, and you don't even need to sign him in free agency. I mean, every team's going to pick him number 1, but it seems perfect for the Knicks, right?
There's only 2 teams I want to see Zion Williamson in next year. One of them is greedy of me because I am a fan of that team, and that is the Bulls. The other team is the New York Knicks. I'm sorry, like Cleveland fans, Sun fans, any other fan that could win the first overall pick.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Zion in any jersey. I mean, an LA jersey would be nice, but it ain't going to happen.
Don't
like
read
a
that.
Laker jersey.
Don't you put that
disgusting.
Like those teams towards the end of the lottery, I'm just not expecting them to win the lottery. I'm looking at the top.
Yeah.
And out of the top 5, if he ends up anywhere but the Knicks or the Bulls, I will be upset because those are the teams I want to see him on.
Do we need to talk about Zion? Well, here, this is what I'm going to say about Zion the player, and this is how highly I think of him. I thought of this last night, and this is when Duke they're playing against Syracuse and then obviously UNC as well.
Yep.
If you took him and put him on a grade school Montana basketball team and then put them in the tournament, I think they might win the championship. He is that
win.
good.
He's insane.
He's ridiculous. I mean, you can look at his shot. He hit a couple 3-pointers, which was impressive, but also his shot's not something that's going to transfer to the NBA. When he's got better defenders, he's got guys guarding him tightly, guys who aren't afraid of him driving because he's going to be a monster driving no matter what. But if they're going to close him out and make him drive, again, 2's bigger than 3. He's not going to make those shots comfortably. But when he's getting room against Nasir Little, who's afraid of him driving because he's just going to put his shoulder into him and kill Nasir Little, he can take those 3s. He's not going to be a great 3-point shooter, but that's something that I think
as long as it's an option in his game.
Yeah, it's an option right now.
Honest.
It's an option right now. Shoot the 3 if you want. You're in college, kid.
No, I think even at the NBA level, like even though he won't have a great shot, it's just keep them honest. Force them to try to close out on you so you do have that lane to drive in.
Yeah, and we see with Ben Simmons, that's something that you still want to see. Just like start shooting him. And that's what I think Brett Brown's been saying is just shoot him just to make that an option.
That's what Giannis did.
Yeah.
He's not been a spectacular shooter, but the last 2 years he's added that 3-point shot to his game, which does give him an extra step on people.
And that's the thing, his form is horrible, Zion's, but if it's going in, I mean, hell, it's going to make him that much better of a player. But I mean, you see what he's done in the past 2 games, and he just is the most effortless athlete I think I've seen maybe outside of LeBron James. But even LeBron, it just seems like LeBron seems like a tight end. Like Zion's kind of like a ballerina or something, but also a truck. Like I don't know how to describe him. It's a marvel to watch him.
It's funny that you bring that magical name up because remember what I said when this whole process started, that I feel like when he gets to the NBA and LeBron does eventually retire, Zion will be the next best player in the NBA.
No.
The next one we talk about.
100% no. I think he might be the most exciting player, but I don't think he's ever going to be the best player. You look at because T-Mac even led the league in scoring. Like, I don't know what player, maybe, like, Dwight was fun, but he was never the best player in the league. Like, I don't know, like, which player is the most exciting, but not the best. Like, he's going to be a top 15 player. He probably will be in top 10. Shaq was the best player in the league.
Michael Jordan?
99 to, 2003.
Oh, I'm thinking, Orlando Magic Shaq.
No, because Shaq was still, probably the best player in the league.
I'm talking about, kid
in
Shaq.
Laker Shaq. Because he probably wasn't even the best big man in the league at that point because you still had Ewing, you still had Robinson, you still had Hakeem. So there was a ton of big men at that point. I don't know the last time, but I think he's going to be one of those guys that is just the most exciting player, but he's not the best player because I don't think he can be a guy that scores like LeBron-esque or he can pass the ball like LeBron. I don't think he's ever going to be that all-around. I'm saying these things, but I don't want to put a cap on him because he fucking will.
Because even though he's not as natural a passer as LeBron James is, since LeBron was in grade school, basically, this kid had point guard magic level skills to him. Zion doesn't have that, but Zion is making the right passes in a lot of situations. And he's impressed us with his ability to have that court vision, to know when to dish the ball out.
Yeah, he can run a fast break.
He can absolutely run the fast break. He is dangerous in transition. Just outright dangerous. I would get the fuck out of his way. I don't care if it's 1-on-4. Nope. Not standing in front of that
Otherwise, you're going to be like something we watched before the podcast. Leonard Fournette, Old Miss defender. You're just going to get run right over.
Yeah, no.
Put him in the grave.
It's disturbing.
And that was the thing is like I will bring this guy up later, but he was killing them early, UNC last night.
Yeah.
And they put Nasir Little on after they called a timeout at 2:19.
Put the clamps on him.
And then after they put Nasir Little on him, Zion was just dominant. 9 of 11 from the field, 1 of 1 from the line, 1 3-pointer, 7 total rebounds, 2 offensive boards, 1 block, 1 steal, 1 turnover, 1 personal foul. He didn't have any movement in the start of the second. He didn't have any action until 14:42, but then he just came back and started putting up more points. There was no match for them. That he had. You couldn't put Luke May on him because Luke May is too slow.
Yeah.
Luke May has the size, kind of, but he's just too slow to guard Zion. You're like, all right, Nasir's got this framework. He's got long athleticism, but Zion just put his body into him, and he was going 3 rows back.
Yeah.
Like there was no answer for him, and I think that when you get to the NBA level, that there's going to be an answer, but he still might be too big, too fast, too strong for everybody. I don't know if. I hate putting a cap on him that he's not going to be the best player in the NBA, but he might be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who can stop him.
Here's a question with Zion. This has nothing to do with his play. It's just a fun question that I thought about. If you could give, out of the teams in the lottery, the one team you'd want him to go to the most, the one team you do not want him to go to no matter what.
I think we all know
who would
my
be number
team to
one,
not go to.
who would be the absolute bottom?
I was going to ask that question. What we should do is top 3 teams you want, rank them, best to worst, top 3, and then give the least. I'll start. I'll say Knicks number 1. I'll say 2. I want to see him on the what team was it? I totally forgot about it. The fucking Mavericks. If the Mavericks get the 5, if they get top 5 pick, I would love to see Zion, or number 1 pick.
Yeah,
if they get the number 1 pick, I would love to see him with Luka Doncic, just for
And
personal reasons.
Kristaps.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
The defense with Kristaps and him.
Yeah.
You don't go to the hole.
Get that out of here.
3 is the Hawks, because him and Trae Young would be the most fun team, I think, in
And
the
John
league.
Collins.
Yeah, because they're already fun. They're and Kevin Herter, like that team's fun already. You had Zion, that'd be my top 3. Least is the Lakers. I do not want to see him and LeBron together.
Really?
No, not at all. I have no interest.
So
Adding that to like
Fast
if they
break
keep
Zion,
Lonzo,
LeBron.
if they keep Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, that would be fun. But I don't know.
Lonzo, full court passing.
Yeah.
Either Zion or LeBron.
I
lose.
get sick of the Lakers and Knicks really easily.
Yeah.
So then if you just hear like Zion and LeBron, and Zion has a better game than LeBron, we're just gonna hear, oh, is he the best player on the team? Like I don't want to hear those. I don't want to hear those dumb storylines. I just don't. That's my opinion on that.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, the Lakers thing, I understand the hate because it's the Lakers. But I mean, I'm with you. I think the top of mine is very similar. I'm definitely looking at. I want to see him on the Knicks. I absolutely would love to have him on the Bulls. Or I would love to have him on the Hawks. Like, those are my 3 teams. Give me any of those 3 and I'm happy. Weirdly, I know the Bulls should be number 1. They're just not. I want the Knicks to have somebody who doesn't suck. Like, give them somebody and let's see the Knicks be great again. You know?
Yeah.
It's been forever since they've been relevant.
That's the thing with the Knicks is like I'm frustrated with their lack of ability to sign people.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't want their fans to not have anybody.
Do you think
like him in the Mecca
Yeah.
would be fantastic. I don't want James Dolan to have him, but like again, like
It's
him
true.
playing in New York being great, having like MSG be like super lively and pumped up, that'd be awesome.
Do you think that would be the biggest mistake is trading him? Because I know that was one of the things that was tossed out there was
Zion?
trading Zion to get Anthony Davis.
I wouldn't do it.
Do you think that would be a mistake still?
absolutely.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too. I think that we brought that up just because like I think I kept putting that like limit in my head, like he can't be the best player in the NBA, but I don't see a way he's
Coming
not.
off
Like he
of an
can't.
injury, he looks even better.
Yeah, he can't shoot from, and it wasn't that serious. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, it wasn't.
They just didn't want to play him in games that didn't matter, and him actually getting hurt. But like I don't like. You look at Giannis, and Giannis is close to being the best player in the league. Like I think he can be that. Like he's obviously not as big, he's not as long as Giannis. But I
he's
think he could
brick
be
shithouse
he could
strong.
be similar to fucking Giannis, and like him going up for dunks is the most impressive thing I've seen in the NBA for a long time. Like
Yeah.
he glides so effortlessly, and he flies and
Yep.
jumps and leaps so effortlessly. He's just so fun to watch. So I think him in New York would be awesome.
Yeah. I'm with you though. I think the one team I don't want to see is him on the Lakers.
Really?
I don't want to see. I don't want LeBron James rewarded
So-
for not playing games.
They're not. The Lakers aren't my top 3.
Weirdly enough, it's not Memphis though. So there you go, Memphis fans.
That's what I
Memphis
thought
would be
you were
cool.
going to pick.
I don't hate you.
I thought
Memphis
you were
would
going to
be
pick
awesome.
the
I know.
Memphis.
I
as
would
the
lean
last
into
one.
it, but like I'm
You
not.
see Memphis, him and Jaren Jackson, that'd be so fun.
Right?
That'd be awesome.
I know.
See, I'm going to throw a curveball at you with my top three.
Is it the Bulls?
Well, no,
Bulls, the
that's
Bulls,
not,
and the Bulls.
no, that's
The
a
Bulls,
fastball.
Bulls, Bulls.
2 straight fastballs, but obviously the Bulls. I'm a Bulls fan.
Yep.
The Knicks at 2. With number 3, 76ers.
How are they
The
getting in?
Kings. The King pick goes to 1. It goes to Philly.
Oh, so
And then they
if
take
the
Zion.
Celtics-
Could
the
you
Celtics at
imagine
14.
Joe, Ben, and Zion on that team?
Ugh. No spacing.
No, I'm good.
No spacing.
That's bad.
I want to know what Jake thinks about that one. The
Jake
team
would shit
Got
himself.
5 people playing from inside the paint.
the team I don't want him to go to is the Pelicans.
yeah.
I don't want
Really?
I don't want them to have with how everything's going on with Anthony Davis. I don't want them to have Anthony Davis and Zion Williamson and a possible Julius Randle at the same time. I just don't want them to have to. And then they trade AD
And they got Ja.
and they get Julius, Ja, and Zion.
Yeah.
I know you were probably saying Ja as a joke, but I'll throw him in there anyways.
Julia
I
Okafor is still hilarious. I don't care.
just don't want that's
balling.
a team where it's like some odd reason to where I'm like, no, I don't want to see him in a Pelican jersey.
Fair enough. Would be a nice transition for them.
I wouldn't mind him in a Pelican jersey. I mean, because I do want to see him, the New Orleans stay. And if they don't get a big player and they lose AD, I don't know if they're going to stay in New Orleans. Because with their ownership, I don't know what the deal is.
Well, the
with
Saints
that team.
just bought him.
But they're right now the woman that Tom Benson married, his wife, is currently being sued by his daughters because they're not her biological mother.
Right.
And apparently, they have a very tenuous relationship, and he always promised his daughter that she would be the next owner. And now that they're pretty much saying that
married,
his wife screwed him over when he was sick. And wrote her name in his will.
Understood.
So there's currently battleship over the ownership. So if the NBA is like, well, this is getting too toxic, we're just stripping ownership, and then they
Basically like
put it
they
up for sale.
For sale, yeah.
Like they did with the Clippers, obviously, a
Right.
completely different
Different
circumstance.
Different, but yeah, it'd be they might go to Seattle. So I think
would be
that would keep
interesting.
them.
Dude, New Orleans, I'm not saying this is a knock for you, but I love
we
the
need Seattle.
Supersonics.
We need Seattle back.
Bring back the Supersonics.
I would rather just see more teams. I'd rather just go to 32.
I'm cool with that as well.
Yeah, and then have a 16-team lottery. What would be the other team then? For if they
Vegas.
Vegas. Okay.
Vegas.
100%
and Seattle.
Vegas, yeah.
Or do you
that-
go back to Vancouver?
No.
And then you can move Memphis to the Eastern.
And the Timberwolves, probably.
Or New Orleans. Oh, New Orleans. Yeah, because we're spanning 32,
Yeah.
so New Orleans too. All right, let's move away from Zion Williamson. He's fun. He's great.
He's the best.
He's the best
Yeah.
player in the draft. I liked Magic Vagberg. Shout out. He put it on Twitter. His tier of players. Tier 1 was Zion Williamson. He had nobody at tier 2, and then tier 3 was full. That's how much of a difference it is, and I agree. Let's move to number 2 though. Suns taking Ja Morant for all of us. This was more of a fit thing because we had the Ja versus RJ thing. You guys are on the side of Ja's better. I think that there's an argument for RJ Barrett being better, but there is no fit in my mind on the Suns for RJ Barrett. That's why they go Ja Morant, because he is a point guard. He can facilitate. He can pass. He could score and help out Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I think he'd just be a great addition. And if he can play defense, that would help Devin Booker's downfall of not playing defense. And I think those two would be a very interesting pair to see in the backcourt.
Oh my god, that would make them one of the most fun teams in the league to watch. So I would absolutely love it. Their offensive potential goes off the charts because giving DeAndre Ayton a pure point guard to work with, their pick and roll, pick and pop game instantly explodes. Like having a true point guard unlocks everything about this team that would make them awesome. They have a head coach who excelled by having a fantastic, unselfish point guard, and that's what his system's known for. And because you guys are wedging Devin Booker, and then eventually moved over to what's the guy they picked up from the
Tyler Johnson.
Thank you, Tyler Johnson. I knew it was Tyler. I was thinking Eifert because you mentioned Eifert earlier, and I was like, nope, that's wrong.
Staying a Bengal.
Tyler Johnson, who has been an interesting temporary fit for them. No, having someone like Ja who has the court vision and passing ability that he has, it would be amazing. This team would be amazing. They'd be dropping 120 a night, no problem. And then, like you said, his athleticism leads us to believe that when he's not expending 110% on offense, he will be able to play some level of average NBA defense to help make up for Devin Booker's deficiencies.
They are 5-5 in the last 10. The Suns are too.
And honestly,
that Johnson
they had
pickup has been nice.
They had a chance to win. I don't know if you saw the fact that they had a breakaway dunk. They lost, I think it was 104, 107 or something like that. But they had a breakaway dunk attempt, and of course Kelly Oubre fucking yammed it. He absolutely he goes to do a double pump on it, and he just bounces it right out. It's you fucking putz. You could have beat the Rockets you could have beat the Rockets, but it's a 4-point swing right there.
Yeah. Ricky, what was your point? Because
I mean, the thing that I just think about is this, to me, pick-wise, is like the most boring, with me, most boring analysis. It's like, well, Ricky, why do they pick Ja? I don't know, they need a point guard.
Yeah,
well,
they literally don't have one.
Like, this is the one position where it's like, duh, that's what you need. Where the thing that I almost think is...
But how is it boring if you think he's the best player?
Well, it's like, it's just, to me, it's like there's no debate. Like, because there's no debate in my mind, I look at it and go, well, there's not much to talk about here. But the thing that I think about with the Suns is, because we all have them going with Ja Morant, it's like, the thing I think is, with Ja on this team, and the 5 for 5 kind of gives you a little hope, but it's like, will this finally be the piece to bring the Suns out of
the top
5? Yeah, out of the top of the draft and finally make them to where they're like the Kings. Where the Kings are not in the top 5. They were fighting for a playoff spot this year until recently.
My thing was just, I think it would be a piece to help them. I don't know if it is, and it's just really then dependent on the GM and the coach. And like, if that,
which that front office is a huge question mark even right now. It's like, what are they doing?
They have a ton of talent if they take Ja Morant. It's just not putting that together. However, the one thing I'll ask is, what's the biggest downside to Ja Morant being on this team? Like, do you see any that are apparent? Like, what negatives would Ja Morant bring to the Suns? Because, yes, he's a point guard. He fits. He does everything that you want in a point guard. He passes the ball around. He has great assist numbers. He plays decent defense, could be even better defense. He could score, drive, and attack the rim. What's the negative side of Ja Morant?
For me, it's when he's asked to play a smaller role will be the biggest question mark is,
how does he fit with Devin Booker in that regard?
When you're not the guy who needs to put up 30 a night, what's going to happen to his game? I mean, I assume he'll get better shots and he should shoot more efficiently, but that assumes that he'll actually fall in line in the system, which we don't know if he'll do. He is a second-year player in college, so we watched him play a smaller role his first year being a backup guard, and he did okay, and all his shooting splits improved well. He expanded his usage, which is wonderful, but now what happens when you take that down a notch? When you're not asking him to score 30 a night with 10 assists and 10 rebounds, you know? Like, what's his game going to look like at that next level when he doesn't have to do that every night? And when like, no, we get it, we love you, but Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton are 1 and 2 scoring options. You're the third, and you need to respect that. You need to give them their opportunities first.
Well, the thing, too, you look at the advanced numbers for Ja compared to freshman year compared to his sophomore year, when his usage went up 13%.
That's insane.
That's insane. It went from 20.4 to 33.6. And you look at the per 40 for that, his freshman year is averaging 14.9, 7.4 assists, 7.6 boards. So right there, that even just shows you that although his usage wasn't high, he was still doing things very effectively per 40. And he was shooting 45% from the field, and then 30% from 3, and then 80% from the line. And he's just improved those numbers and those splits, field goal percentage-wise, up to 50% from the field, 33% from 3, 81% from the line. I mean, obviously, he took a jump up 13 points in points per game, 14.9 to 27. He went up clearly in assists, 7.4 to 11 assists, and then 7.6 boards down to 6.1, but that doesn't really matter too much when you have DeAndre Ayton out there.
Yeah.
I think the biggest negative is that, though, is how is he going to work off ball? And is he going to be like Russ? Russ can't play off ball. He just stands there. He's not engaged in the offense. Yeah. And if his comparison is Russ, is he going to be like Russ in that aspect, or is he going to be active? Because if he's active, it's going to be a great addition. But if he's not engaged in the play like you're saying, that's going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah, for me, I wonder, and the Suns are kind of in a catch-22 with this, because the other thing I kind of thought was, oh, well, do you kind of see if there's a team that really wants Ja, get an extra pick for next year, trade back, see if you can get a Darius Garland. But like I was looking, I was like, no, I wouldn't do that, because every flaw that Darius Garland has, Ja Morant doesn't have that flaw. And with me, I'd rather kind of see if this works of like, can he play off ball? Well, we'll find out. I'd rather take that risk than like, this is another, like you asked, do the Knicks trade Zion? Well, here too, do the Suns trade away from taking Morant? God, no, please don't do that. Just take him and whatever you need to let it work, because although some people would say, where's the track record? Because it's a small track record. I feel like Coach Igor could get Ja to buy into the system. Because up until this point, I know that it's the OVC and everyone's bashing on Murray State in their conference. but no one's come out and said there's any ego problems or personality problems with John Morant. So I would have no worry about drafting him and then fitting him into a role that he needs to play for this team.
Yeah, I think.
And if everyone eats, everyone's happy.
Yeah, and that's the one thing too is like you see right now, even though they're a bad team, like Ayton's still not getting enough shots. So then
and he's putting up good numbers, which is the crazy thing is he's shooting at an incredible rate for a rookie.
That's why if you're giving him more, what will he do?
Yeah,
because if he's still going to keep up that efficiency,
oh my God,
then it's going to be crazy. So that's the thing is like I don't know if there's enough shots to go around, but if you have a point guard that's going to pass the ball around, maybe it will work out. So I think it's a risk. I don't even think it's a risk. It's just something you need to do. Like that's plain and simple. You need to take this.
I don't think they can pass on him. No. I literally think that like if you're the Knicks, or whoever you are at 1, you have to take Zion, and if you're the Bulls or the Suns, you have to take John Morant at 2.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I look at these teams and there's clear players that they need to take. Like if for the Knicks, Suns, and Bulls, it's Zion or Ja.
Yep.
For both of them, and really the other guys do not fit for their teams. Where the Cavs, they can take anybody. The Hawks, they can take anybody. I think the Knicks can take anybody, but like for the Knicks to be successful with how bad they've been, they need to get one of those top 2 players. Yeah. So with those 3 teams, they need to get Zion or Ja, or I think their seasons are just complete failures. Obviously, they're bad on the court, but then you being bad really didn't result in a yield. Exactly. Especially for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Would you throw the Grizzlies in there?
No, Grizzlies can take anything.
Okay. Because the part of me is like, you've got Mike Conley still under contract, but we're assuming him to get traded next year, right? That's what I'm thinking.
That doesn't matter because you look at the youth on this team, the centerpiece of it
for the
is
Grizzlies,
Jared
it's Zion, and then at 2, okay, we can kind of have a discussion.
I think it's really anybody because you look at Jaren Jackson. He's like you could take Sekou as a project. You could take Garland, who we'll talk about later because I think he's a great fit.
Yeah.
You could take probably Jackson Hayes would be the only one, but you're not going to take a center there when you have Jaren Jackson. That's the point. Is Jaren Jackson was already the youngest player last year, so he's still extremely young.
Yep.
You can do anything with this team. I think the Grizzlies have a really blank canvas. Wizards really and Wizards if they get Zion that would be great. But like they're just so far out. Like if we're talking about teams that have a shot at the number 1 pick, like that are in the top 5, really Knicks, Suns, and Bulls, they need Zion or Ja, and then everybody else can really fill in the gaps there. Let's move now to the Cavs. I have R.J. Barrett, Ricky, R.J. Barrett, Dave, R.J. Barrett. You talked about Colin Sexton earlier, Ricky. You wanted to bring him up. How does R.J. Barrett fit with Colin Sexton?
Yeah, for me, it's just one of those things where I looked at the Cavs at 3, and he's the best player available. And it's like, my biggest question would be, does the Mamba mentality of R.J. Barrett and how, like, Dave, we were kind of mentioning where it's like, I threw up from the comment section that people were like, oh, if R.J. Barrett was in the OVC, he'd be putting up 30 points a night. And like you were saying, he'd be taking all the tons of garbage shots that he's just chucking up there. There would be a little bit of worry for me of can that mesh with Colin Sexton? But at the same time, the Cavaliers need somebody that can be the number 2, number 1, no matter who's who. They need somebody that they can pair with Colin Sexton. And we've talked about it before. We talked about, I think, in that segment where we talked Ja and RJ. The Mamba mentality isn't bad. He just needs to be coached a little bit, I would say, and kind of fit into a role because right now it's just, Zion's eclipsing me. And what do I do to up my draft stock? Because when we see Duke without Zion, I'm not saying that's what he's exactly thinking.
Yeah, I think it's just
but
more
it's like that Duke team is such an anomaly because we've never seen this before. And Zion is such a huge figure that he eclipses the entire team just by being on the court.
I don't think he has a personality problem where he's going to
I'm not trying to say that.
Yeah, but that's, I think that's kind of what, he needs to be the center of attention. I don't think that's true. However, I think that those two play styles will clash a bit.
But does he need to be the guy? Huh? Not be the most important, but they need to be the guy with the ball in his hand.
For the Cavs to be successful, yes. Because he's going to be drafted and he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And that's with Colin Sexton on this team, no matter what. Because he's a higher draft pick, better player. He's going to be the guy. The one thing is just then can Colin Sexton play off ball, which I hope he can do. I don't know if he can. But then even then, when he has the ball, he's not a guy who's facilitating. So you really can't have R.J. Barrett play off ball because R.J. Barrett not smell the ball with Colin Sexton. So that's the one problem I have with them together is, you look at Colin Sexton, he's the young bull. He's got this mentality of, even at Alabama, at the Cavs now, he has this mentality of he needs to take team on his back, he needs to score 20 a night. And that's how we're going to be successful, or I'll look successful. And you look at RJ, I think RJ will have that. He has a similar personality in that as well, but he's a more willing passer than Colin Sexton. So I think for them to be successful, the ball needs to be in RJ's hands. And if that means Colin Sexton is going to fall off as a prospect, oh well, you got to go after the guy who's going to be the better player. And I think RJ has that ability to be an all-star at best at this league. I don't think he's going to be a star, but I think he's got that level of being a 23, 24 night a scorer with getting like 6 assists a night. Like, I think he's going to be a pretty good wing. And I think that Colin Sexton's top, I don't think is really an all-star level from what we've seen. I think he can be a starter, but I think his role needs to expand a ton where RJ can step in, he can play his game right away. And I just worry how those two are going to clash. And will he eclipse Colin Sexton when we get to the NBA level if they're on the same team?
Random thought that just popped into my head. If you're the Cavs and the right team called at the right spot, could we see a potential, what we saw with the Hawks and Mavs last year, of like, okay, RJ would be the guy that we have to pick here because obviously he's the best on the board, but I don't think he fits with this team. Oh, so-and-so is calling, because the next 2 picks after the Bulls at 4 and then Hawks, let's say it's the Grizzlies at 7. Oh, well, we can make a trade with the Grizzlies, get an additional draft pick, and then we can take a 3 late, or we can take a position we maybe like this player better. Could we see the Cavs do that where they make a Hawks-Mavs kind of a trade instead of drafting Barrett at 3? Or would that be like, no, don't do that at all?
I probably wouldn't do that. Just knowing RJ Barrett, we looked at him coming into the year as the number 1 overall pick, and for a good reason. Like, he can score from anywhere. He, like Sean said, is a decent enough passer, especially from the wing position, and he gets you boards. Like, he has everything you want in a number 1.
Well, we had him at number 1. Sean had Romeo Langford.
Shut up, he's at 12.
Right. So, moving
you
along.
and RJ at 2, though, Sean. You're okay.
Moving along. Everybody had.
I knew he wasn't going to be number 1, guys. That was my reasoning.
I mean,
but back to RJ.
So, I think that I don't think they should pass back on that. I think that you absolutely take RJ Barrett here. I don't think he's a bad fit necessarily. I agree with Sean in the fact that you might not have, a true ball handler at all times because you have, basically in Colin Sexton, you have an undersized 2 guard and RJ playing the 3. I think that you can go out and get yourself a true point, unselfish, maybe later in this draft or next year, and solve that, or free agency.
I think that's the thing is it's going to be really interesting is I wonder, I'm not really up to date on the Cavs cap situation because why would I? It's not important.
Outside of Kevin Love and TT, they're not terrible.
Yeah, well, and then the JR thing
is an attractive contract for people because of his cap cut.
But if they do have the money, would a Ricky Rubio be willing or a Rondo be willing to go over? Because if you put Rondo
hates Cleveland, Yeah,
that's true. Who doesn't though? I think
true.
The only person that doesn't
Rondo
is
loves money, though.
Clevelanders, and then LeBron because that's your hometown.
Right.
We get it. But I don't think anyone's ever like, oh yeah, I'm going to a getaway destination vacation to Cleveland, Ohio.
No, that's fair.
And I think, but if you throw enough money at him, if you have the money available, I think a Rubio or a Rondo, a veteran who can pass the ball, and facilitate and be a leader out there. I think that would be a very interesting fit because Barrett could play the 3. You could have Sexton at the 2. You can have Love at the 4, and then at the 5 you could roll out TT when healthy. You could play undersized 5 there. Chris has been.
I say keep going. There's something better.
He had 1 game that was good. Larry Nance. Yeah, Larry Nance.
There we go. Larry Nance works out well as an undersized 5. I like him in the same kind of role that Bobby Portis plays.
Yeah, I think that's
high
just
energy
guys
guy.
that you go and hell. Bobby Portis is probably gonna be a free agent. So
he's gonna get paid.
Yeah,
by
you
somebody,
can go after that. So I think that there's ways to counteract it. I just think best player available, go and get it. And it's RJ Barrett in my mind. It's not really close.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just want to throw it out there. They may not have to go get somebody.
Right.
Because they do have on their roster still Brandon Knight. And, I'm only bringing this up because According to Chris Federer of Cleveland.com, Larry Drew said to him, he's the Brandon that I remember, probably not as explosive as he's been in the past prior to the injury, but still a guy who has a tremendous work ethic and he competes. That's the thing I admire about him and respect about him. He's a team player, and he's going to give you everything he has when he's on the floor.
Yeah, and he's going to give everything he has, and he's going to get injured again. That's Brandon Knight for you. And right now he's averaging 4.2 assists.
I mean,
that's not enough in my mind.
They
If you're going to play with Colin Sexton, you're going to play with RJ Barrett, you need to move the ball.
They're going to pay him $15.5 million next year. I mean,
and that's a team that doesn't have a true point. And you say 4.2 assists. I'm like, that's not terrible considering the situation he's stuck in, where you have a team with a ball hungry Colin Sexton on it, and a bunch of injured players. So like, I love Brian Knight. You guys know this. I've been rooting for this kid for the last 4 years to not break himself in half.
I'm not rooting against him,
but
I want to make that clear.
I'm not putting money on him being my point guard.
You can't go after that plan.
No.
Like, if he's going to come in and he's going to play better than the point guard you sign.
Is it weird that you call him kid, but he's 2 years younger than us?
Still a kid.
If you
it feels like it because I've been I've been rooting for him since he was like 22, and he's been hurt for the last 5 years.
And if he comes in and you sign a guy like, let's say, Rondo. You signed a guy like Rondo, and like Rondo just isn't playing as well as you expect him to, and Knight comes in off the bench and he does play well. That's great. That's great. But you cannot have your plan being Brandon Knight, because it's bound. I think it's written in his contract that he needs to get injured.
Yeah.
Like that's just what the guys get the worst luck when it comes to health.
It's terrible too.
People always overlook D Rose, and like D Rose is an MVP candidate and how bad injuries have hurt him. He's been able to bounce back. Brandon Knight was a 20-point game scorer. Like, he was a guy or close to a 20-point game scorer, 19 in Cleveland. And he looked like a guy that was going to be able to shoot from deep. He was going to be able to pass. Like, he was going to be an all-around great point guard. Yeah. And he's just never been healthy enough to
think
ever
about the point
back.
guards they moved on from because they had Brandon Knight.
Dragic, Isaiah Thomas.
There's one more.
Who's the other guy?
Hang on.
Eric Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe.
So there you go.
Eric Bledsoe is more so other reasons, but he didn't want to be there. Yeah,
you don't want to be there because he was at the hair salon.
Yep.
But yeah, I just think that if you're the Cavs, go after the best player, and that's my idea with the top three guys. It's just like the top three are very clear. It's just take the one that fits best for you. If you're at number one, it's Zion. Don't even question it. Yep. If you're two, you're the Suns or Bulls, need a point guard. Take Ja Morant. I'm in the idea if you're the Cavs or the Hawks at two, go RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
And then if and then who has ever left at three? Because even if the Bulls are at three and Ja Morant's off the board, go after RJ Barrett because he's the best player
100%.
in this draft.
100%. I don't think I would pass. Like I said, even if a team, I know you mentioned the Grizz, but they don't really control their pick because of the Celtics next year likely.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would forfeit more future draft capital to try to move up for him. But maybe another team in here like the Wizards or something might do something crazy. Who knows?
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Wolves that we talked about. They get screwed. They don't get the Ja or the Zion they want. I have them going Jarrett Culver. Ricky, you have them going Cam Reddish. And Dave, you also have them going Jarrett Culver. The We Agree podcast is in full force. Let's talk about Culver's fit and Cam Reddish's fit. Dave, we'll start with Culver since we got two against one here. How do you like Culver's fit, and why did you have the Bulls taking him?
I went with Culver because he's a two-way player, and he's showing that even though his game is ugly at times, he gets it done, and I think that's what I love. He has that drive during games where you watch him will plays to happen, and he's a gamer. He's always on. He's always engaged. He's always locked in, and that's one of the things about Cam that has scared me off. Like, to counterpoint that is Cam is one of those guys who is very wishy-washy on how engaged he is during games. Sometimes you see him get hot, and man, that guy is asking for the ball left and right. He's sinking shots from the outside, and it looks smooth. But other games, and more often than not, unfortunately, he is an afterthought. He is a shadow on the outside, and it seems like he's not all there, and that scares me. For someone of his level of talent coming in, and I understand his team has an interesting situation, and he's not the number one guy or the number two guy necessarily, but he's still a guy who's not all there. And Jarrett Culver is someone who is continuing to improve his game. And the fact that he is a true two-way stud, I'm like, that's a leader on a team. That's someone who's got the intangibles. That's a locker room guy. That's who I want to bring in on my team.
That's where I completely agree with you there. Is I'm not really going to talk about Cam here. I'll talk about him when it comes to the Hawks. But when I was looking at it, I clearly they need someone to move the ball around. They need someone to lead the offense. And while that person is not there, because I think Darius Garland, people will be asking, well, he's a point guard. He's not a guy that I think is going to be a point guard in traditional ways. He's going to be a scorer, and that's what he's going to do. I think he can pass. He's a willing passer. He's not going to not pass the ball and be a ball hog. But he does dominate the ball, and he is a guy that's going to try to score every single time he has the ball. If he's double teamed, if he's in a trap spot, he'll pass the ball away. But he's going to be a guy that if you give him a one-on-one, Garland's going to take him. Where I feel Culver, while he isn't going to be your traditional point guard like a Trae Young, like a Steve Nash, like a even Ja Morant in those ways, I think he is going to be a guy that is a very decent passer, especially if this is going to be a team where Levine's going to drive in, he knows he's not going to get a shot off, he dishes out to Markin and they swing it to Porter and they swing it around to Culver, or Culver's in the corner. Like I just think that they're going to be able to use team passing more than just a traditional point guard, and I think when you're in this spot where there isn't a point guard to be that traditional guard, you need to at least get a decent passer. And I look at, Culver's ability to get assists on this Texas Tech team. He's a decent ball handler. I think that putting him on this team where it's really you can put him outside the arc and, if you're passing an open three to him, he's going to knock it down. So I think just within the team, he's going to be a guy that just fits him. All five of those guys can pass if it's Wendell Carter Jr., Markkanen, Porter, Levine, and Culver.
Yep.
All those guys can pass. All those guys can shoot. It's going to be perimeter attacking basketball and then driving and dishing. I think that's going to be the way that the Bulls are probably going to work offensively if that is the pick of Culver. So I think this is just going to fit into a team offense where Markkanen could score 30 a night, Levine can score 30 a night, but they don't have to because they have that ability to pass. And even Porter as well. Porter can score 30 a night. So I think it's just another complementary piece to not really make it a full, complete offense, but just making it something where, everyone, there's not one guy that needs to take on this load. Like Levine doesn't need to transition to a point guard. You can just have a guard bring the ball up and then work the team offense. So that's my idea with the Culver thing, because I don't think Reddish is going to be able to do that for the Bulls. But you have him going Reddish, Ricky.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the main thing is, number one, the usage percentage is different with Cam and Jarrett, where part of me is, and this isn't a huge thing of, I know Cam right now is used to not having that high usage, and we are going to have automatic. We're going to have Zach LaVine, top 10 in the NBA. No, I'm kidding. But the usage, he's going to be not the one or two guy. The thing that I am sitting here as a Bulls fan and just, I don't know if I'm worried about it or if I want it to happen if we don't get one or two. Mm-hmm. Like in my mind, I want one or two because we get Zion or we get Ja. But for me, I might not want to pick fourth. And the reason why is, yeah, you might say, well, Ricky, you're stupid. You can either get Cam Reddish. If you get three, you can get RJ Barrett. But there's a part of me that is I am readily and waiting for my worst nightmare to happen, where the Bulls fall to 6 or 7. And the Bulls are the 6th or 7th pick. And in this worst nightmare, Darius Garland is off the board before the Bulls pick, to where I'm like, great.
Yikes.
Now everything we need is gone.
Yeah.
There's part of me that's thinking, hey, at 4, do a flop. Do a flip. Trade back and get Darius Garland because you don't really need either Cam Reddish. We don't need Cam Reddish or Jarrett Culver, but Darius Garland is the guy we need.
Why do you think you need him?
Because we need a point guard.
But that's just putting a position there where that's the
we need a point guard and can get an additional.
But
pick.
he's not a traditional point guard.
But I mean,
he's going to be a guy that I think that him and Levine have too much overlap. Levine and Garland are both guys that if you give them one-on-ones, they're going to try to attack and score the basketball, and that's going to kill your team momentum. I think that those are guys that, like Devin Booker, you look at him, Devin Booker's a guy that's going to try to score on every single possession. Garland's the same way, and Levine's the same way, especially if they're both hot. That's going to just slow down an offense. It's going to kill momentum. It's going to kill passing, and it's going to kill your offense. I don't feel like that's going to be the most efficient way. And also another thing with Garland, too, is just this is a guy that we've only seen 5 games out of, and his 3 best games have been between non-Power 5 conferences.
And the combine is going to tell us a lot.
Yes, it is. But I just think that you're asking a lot just because this guy's small and he's a guard. Like, I don't think he's the guard that you're thinking of or the Bulls need. The Bulls need a guy that the ball is going to flow through, that's not going to dominate positions, because you have Markkanen, a guy who can put up 20 a night. You have Porter, who I think should not be limited again, because we've seen when he's come over to the Chicago Bulls that he's been a phenomenal player on this team, because he's not limited like he was in Washington. And clearly you don't want to limit Zach LaVine, because he's a guy that can have the hottest months in all the NBA. You look at that February month, it was absolutely insane what he was doing. You cannot limit what this team has done offensively, and drafting Darius Garland might slow that offense down. Do not go back just because he's a point guard. Go for a guy that's going to keep and fit into this offense. You have 3 stars. You don't need another one.
Yeah, I don't have that worry. I mean, I know the assist numbers were down in the small sample size that we saw.
2.6.
But I don't think the drafting...
It's not even the assist part, though.
Like, I don't even think that drafting Darius Garland would tank our team and make us super worse. Like, for me, the reason why I took Cam Reddish here was the 3-point percentage and what I think he will be. There's more with me. I am, what's the word I'm looking for? It just blanked in my head. I'm more confident in Cam Reddish's 3 from the NBA level than I am for Jarrett Culver. Not saying that I'm worried about Jarrett Culver because I've mocked him at 5 to the Hawks until I don't even think I had another pick after him there.
What about Cam's ability to shoot from the outside you like more than Culver's?
I am just more confident that he will hit at the NBA 3 at a higher percentage than Jarrett Culver.
Why?
Because for me, I've always had that. I've always had that worry with Jarrett Culver. At first, it was he can shoot the threes, 3 and D, and then I started watching. And I was like, you know what? He doesn't shoot as many threes as Cam Reddish does. But also, it's like when that line gets stepped back, is that percentage going to go down? And with Cam Reddish, I don't think that's the problem. With Jarrett Culver, moving that line back might affect his 3, especially when he's not shooting as many, shooting 3 less a game than Cam is.
To me, it's like when I look at the players now, the play style they model themselves after, like Jarrett Culver reminds me a lot of, I know you guys hate me, but like Jimmy Butler-esque play style. He's a gritty 2-guard out there who is playing the 3 at times.
I like Jimmy, just don't like his attitude. That's the
fair.
thing I don't like about Jimmy. So,
no problems there.
Yeah, no
problem. But play style wise, do you see what I'm saying in that front?
Yeah, and Jarrett Culver, if he was a Bull, I would not hate it. I'm not even trying to say that either. With me, I was just like, you know what?
Yeah. The 3 ball is not going to be a key to his game, but it's going to be a bonus to his game. Like, he's going to be one of those guys who can draw contact, who can go to the line, who can really work those situations and try to abuse some matchups, because I know it says he's 6'6", but like when you watch him on the court, he's got to be 6'7". He might be 6'7.5".
Well, I think the measurements are 6'5", so I think he's grown like 3 inches or something.
Yeah, he looks bigger and he's playing bigger, which is nice because in college, obviously you're going to be bigger than your opponents, but in the NBA, if he's playing a 2-guard and he's 6'7", 6'7.5", that's going to be a huge advantage. He'll be in that Chris mid-level of area of like you're just that much better of a matchup, but I do agree that like Cam's 3-point shot, I think it's going to transition. I think that the thing with him, we've talked about all season, is just how much better can he be when he's not behind 2 other guys.
Zion and Ra. And RJ.
Yeah. And
I almost said Ra. Ra.
So I have no problem with the Bulls taking him there. But for me, it's just like, where's his will with the game? Like, does he want to be the guy? Can he get that at the NBA level if he goes to a team like the Bulls where we already have our 2 guys set?
Yeah, I'm going to bleed these conversations just because, Ricky, you have Culver going to the Hawks at 5, and then Dave and I both have Reddish going 5 to the Hawks.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the same players here. This is the biggest thing that I look for Cam Reddish in between Jarrett Culver. I think production is huge. And I understand Cam Reddish has the body, he has the athleticism, he has the it factor, like he has the length, he has everything you want in an NBA wing besides the production. But the production to me is huge. It's absolutely necessary for you to produce at a lower level. Because if you're not producing at a lower level, what can you do at an upper level? And I get that he has a more game tailored towards the NBA, but talent's going to win out. Yeah. And your mindset's going to win out. And right now, it's just not winning out. And I understand he's being pigeonholed into a role because of RJ and Zion. But still, talent's going to rise up to that level. And it never has for Cam. There's been flashes. There's been sports more than a guy like Nasir Little.
Oh, yeah.
But it hasn't been enough. And that's the thing where I was even questioning putting him at 5. But I just think with the Hawks having 2 picks, there's no reason you shouldn't go with him because of the potential. But the production is not there. And I just want to back this up with some stats and some players. Since 2014-2015, because I didn't want to make it too big, 2014-2015 to now, and players from their freshman season, these are players that qualified for the points per game leaderboard. These are guys that are shooting under 40% from the field, that are shooting under 35% from 3, and are taking more than 5 threes a game and more than 10 shots a game. The players on this list come from Florida A&M, Detroit Mercy, Eastern Kentucky, Mount St. Mary's, Alabama A&M, South Carolina Upstate, Texas San Antonio. There are no division or Power 5 players on this list besides Cam Reddish. And you look at the guys on this list, none of them are guys that have been picked in the NBA. There is no production that matches Cam Reddish to warrant a top 10 pick.
But
the potential does, but the production doesn't. And I think production means something.
Yeah, but you got to understand, like, the thing that is the anomaly here with this is Duke in itself is the anomaly, where this might be the only time in a situation where I say, take that production and put it to the side. Because to me, it doesn't matter in this situation because this is something we've never seen before.
It's funny. He's also the only forward on that list.
We've never seen this before. We've never seen a team be this stacked. Like, yes, there have been stacked teams. People are probably going to say, well, Ricky, what about the Fab Five? And the Fab Five was a stacked team. But we have never seen a team since, especially we've been doing mock drafts, where early on, it was 1, 2, 3. My first big board, 1, 2, 3, Duke, Duke, Duke. And that's just how it was. To where the ball, like, there's only so many minutes in a game. There's only so many touches somebody can have. You have Zion Williamson, who is the best player in college basketball, the number 1 pick in this draft. You're not going to take the ball out of his hands.
But Ricky,
and then you have the Mamba mentality. I'm just saying.
Here's the thing. He's getting the ball. He's getting the ball. He's not getting the ball.
But
he's had games of 10 or more shots in 24 games. He's getting the ball. He's getting the opportunity to produce. And he's not.
What type of shots are
you
they?
You have R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson.
Yeah.
So he's getting open shots. They have 2 great scorers on this team in Zion and R.J. Barrett. He's not playing with bums who are getting open. He's not playing on Ja Morant. Like, he's not the guy that Ja Morant's passing to.
I'm not saying they're bums.
He's playing with Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett.
Yes.
So he's not getting shit shots. He's just not making these shots. And he's not making shots. When he gets 23 shots against UNC, he goes 6 of 23. Like, there's not a production. When he's playing Pitt, 4 of 16, 2 of 15 against NC State. There are games where he shuts down. And these are with top 3 picks on his team in R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson. He has help. He has help, and he's playing in a secondary role. And why do I trust a guy who cannot produce in a secondary role to be a top 5 pick? When has that ever panned out in the NBA?
For me, with this situation of, yes, I'm not saying that Zion and RJ are scrubs, but I like the comparison you brought up. What if this on a lesser scale is like Nasir Little, where we said about Nasir Little, what he probably shouldn't have went to UNC. Maybe it wasn't the best decision. With Cam Reddish, how would he be different if he was on a team not with RJ and Zion? We have asked that before, but I look at it, and I've seen Cam at his best. We've obviously seen him at his worst. And with me, I like the potential better in Cam Reddish than I do Jarrett Culver.
And that's fine.
I
agree.
I have a feeling that Cam is going to be that guy that teams go, fuck, why do we pass on him? We have the third,
disagree.
fourth pick.
I agree that his potential is higher. He has a higher floor. There is no doubt. A 6'9" wing in this NBA that can shoot from the outside is key.
And play defense.
When he's engaged. He can play defense when he's engaged. But the thing is, I don't see enough to be like, yeah, that's my guy. I've never been able to look at Cam Reddish outside of the one shot he hit against Florida State and be like, that's him. That's my guy. I've never been able to be. I've never been wowed by Cam Reddish. Like, yes, he's had games where he's put up 27 points, but I've never been knocked down solid. That's my guy. I don't feel that after the top 3. And I look at just the fit of Jarrett Culver on the Bulls. He can move the ball around. He can play defense. That's what this team needs. And I know I'm going to get it to him because he's produced. And you know what? If Cam Reddish turns out to be an all-star, good for him. But I cannot look at him and be like, yeah, that's a top 5 pick. That's a guy that I'm proud of picking. I even was worried about putting him at the Hawks. But again, the potential cannot be passed up for the Hawks having 2 picks. They can waste a shot. If Cam Reddish doesn't pan out, oh well.
At worst, he's what, a 3-and-D player in the league, right?
At worst, he's a bench wing. And maybe he can,
Which will
run,
always have
he can
value.
run the fast break. Maybe he could shoot 35% from 3.
Yeah.
I just don't see it in him yet. And I want him to prove it. I want him to be good, but I have not seen it.
But at the same time, I'm going to throw this out there, and I know that this is going to be like well, why would you take this early in the draft? But I look at this Bulls team. Since we made the trade for Otto Porter, we have been a different team. We're actually winning ball games, which scares me. And to me, the biggest thing we need, no matter where we are, is Ja Morant. We need Ja Morant. We don't even need Zion over Ja. We need Ja Morant, number 1. Zion would be great. I'd love to have him. But we need Ja. And even if Cam Reddish for the Bulls is a bench 3-and-D wing, well, that's fine because we got Zach LaVine. We've got Otto Porter. This team is proving late in the year we can win games when we can beat teams that are playoff level teams. I know Joe wasn't playing when we beat the
Sixers twice
in one night. But I mean, this team is proving, hey, next year could be something special. And even if he's a bench guy, could help us.
Here's the thing that I
hate where the Bulls are.
This is my final point.
Want a top 3.
This is my final point with this. With the 2 things. If you look at since 2014, the guys who have been picked from the same team, 2 teammates picked in the top 10. All right, there's no 3 in the top 5. All right, this is
never happened.
Unprecedented. What these guys are doing, the potential they have. But also it's the weak ass draft class. The 2 guys that have been picked, Justice Winslow after Jahlil Okafor, and then Wendell Carter after Marvin Bagley, and then also Joel Embiid. Behind Andrew Wiggins. But I'm going to write that one off because Embiid was injured, and if he wasn't injured, he'd likely go higher than Wiggins. It was clear that the talent was there for Embiid, but he just wasn't healthy enough. And even then, we see that Embiid didn't have a large enough sample size, is what I'm saying, in college to predict this. But you look at Justice Winslow, 12 points per game, 2.1 assists, 6.5 boards, and he's shooting 48% from the field, 41% from 3, and 64% from the line. And it's taken him a very long time, and he's produced in college, and it's taken him a very long time, and he's a wing, 6'7", and he was all NCAA alternate and all NCAA region. This is a guy that has struggled in the NBA and is finally kind of turning around as point justice. But he's still a guy that has struggled. He was very raw. I see that in Cam Reddish. And Cam Reddish isn't even producing at the level that Justice Winslow is. He's so inefficient, it's not even funny. And Justice was getting less shots than Cam Reddish. And then you look at Wendell Carter, too. Wendell Carter, 13.5 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 56% from the field, 41% from 3, 74% from the line. He was producing. These guys who had stars on their team were producing. Top 10 picks were producing. Cam Reddish is the only one that's not. That's a warning sign for me. You have the talent. You're the 3rd best player in high school, and you're not producing. That's a fucking problem in college. That's where I look at it.
Say what you just said again, so I have the parameter set.
It's a fucking problem that he's...
No, the thing about the 2 guys drafted.
Justice Winslow.
Like, what is it? Was it top 10?
Just top 10, yeah.
Yeah, top 10.
Because did you say Karl Anthony Towns and Willie Cauley-Stein, that same draft, were 1 and 6?
2015?
Yeah. 1 and 6, Kentucky. You had Karl Anthony Towns number 1. Willie Cauley-Stein was also number 6.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I overlooked that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just throwing it out there
Yeah,
because
my
I
bad.
didn't think you said it.
No, I didn't. I
when you
overlooked
said
it.
that, I was like, oh, I thought Karl Anthony Towns
even then,
did. That
Booker
was
and
the year
Lyles
we
were
had like
top
a
13.
bunch of fucking Kentucky players
Yeah,
drafted.
top
Like,
4 in the 13.
Like, and I get what you're saying. Like, I'm not saying Cam is like the perfect prospect, but I mean, I look at it and
Cauley-Stein's different too because he was a 3-year player.
Yeah.
So that's something. But even then, he didn't have the same amount of shots, but he was a 60% shooter in college, averaging 2.2 blocks and a steal a game.
If I'm the Bulls and we're at 4, I don't know. I don't know what our plan would be or who. Like, I don't think there's one guy where it's like, yes, that's our guy at 4, and I would not be closed-minded to say no. We're not gonna trade this pick and kind of do a swap like the Hawks and the Mavs did.
I don't know. I just
My worst nightmare though is that we get bump back and we're like at 7. That's my worst nightmare.
All right. We done on Culver versus Reddish?
I think so.
All right, let's move to the final one for the Hawks. They're taking Jackson Hayes and Dave and I's mock, and then Ricky, you have him going Romeo Langford. We talked about this before on the last mock draft. Jackson Hayes going to the Hawks. It's a good fit with John Collins.
Yeah, pretty much no matter where they go in the top 10 with that pick, unless it's, even higher, which it can't be because guess what? Top 5 protected.
Yeah.
So 6 through 9, give me Jackson Hayes, or 10 even. But give me Jackson Hayes. Like, he is a young center who's absolutely got elite physicals. If you put him anywhere near that rim, he is stuffing people.
Yeah.
Basically you're just hoping that he fills out that frame and he learns a little bit of self-control on the fouling, and you have your lock next to John Collins cementing down that low post.
And that's the thing, too, with this Hawks pick, where they have Reddish going before him and then Hayes. There isn't a shooting guard that I really like there that fits well with Trae Young. So, and Ricky, you'll talk about that.
Yeah.
You have a 2 guard going there. I just think that you have Herter, and I think Herter's already a good fit, and Herter just needs to come along and develop. Reddish hopefully will be your starting wing, but if not, you still have Taurean Prince. There's a hole at that 5, and addressing that with Jackson Hayes, it might be an overdraft at 6, but I still think that it's worth that pick because you're getting that from the Mavs. It's just another player, so that's just Jackson Hayes and Trae Young for Luka Doncic, which if he pans out and is a starter,
You're a starter and a star for a superstar.
Works out. And Trae Young might even be a superstar. I don't want to limit him.
Yeah.
So I think Hayes is just a good fit, and if this was their only pick, I don't think they'd be going Jackson Hayes.
I might swing for the fences.
Yeah, if Reddish, Culver, RJ Barrett, Morant, and Williamson were off the board, I don't think they'd be going Jackson Hayes. But they have that other pick, and I think you need to address the need and fill out the lineup. But why do you like Romeo Langford next?
Well, with me, I was kind of, for this one with the Hawks, I was kind of looking around like what were some of the other Hawk sites kind of saying, and there was one that I found from Soaring Down South, which is a fan-cited Hawk site, and they kind of talked about how at number 6, Romeo Langford would be kind of a good pick. Like, yeah, it kind of might contradict a little bit because he's a guy that is a ball handler, but he's a solid ball handler and solid passer, like they said. But the last part is really what kind of hit it for me is they say beyond that, the Hawks should be in a complete talent acquisition mode, trying to obtain the best player available at each draft stock, no matter the fit. Langford would hit that mold. And I kind of look at mine, and that might go away from me a little bit. I almost, at that point, reading that, was like, fuck it, Rui Hachimura, right there to the Hawks. But I didn't, only because I looked at it and said, well, Jarrett Culver, if he's taller, then he would be more of a 3 in my mind. Why would I go with 2 3s there? Let me go Romeo Langford, playoff ball. And the center thing that both you guys had them go with, I've got picks in the second round. Like, they've got one 35th. If I really wanted to, I could get Bassey, I could get Gafford, I could get a center.
Bassey doesn't
at
have
35.
a motor. You watch that guy, you think he's like an old man. He cannot jump for his life. And Gafford would be interesting. But I just look at Hayes. He's so young and he's so developable. And we've seen what Jared Allen has done so far coming
Texas
out of Texas.
centers, baby.
Yeah, Texas has done a great job.
lifeblood.
I just look at Hayes. He's so young. He's so raw. You could develop him, and I think that'd be a great pick just because it fills out your roster. And if they're going best player available, I'd probably say go Darius Garland. But
I was just thinking that. I was
you're
like,
not going with
go
him, Trae
bold,
Young.
man.
Yeah.
Put Garland at the 2 guard and just roll with
I
it.
also
imagine?
feel like,
The scoring would be insane.
I'll be completely honest, even putting Ball at 8 to the Wizards was a little like, for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to throw this out about the Hawks. Where did their kind of GM and stuff come from? Golden State. What's the one position Golden State has not had a solid player in since, like, DeMarcus Cousins?
Center.
The center.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Bogut was good, but Bogut wasn't like
Bogut was the best
all-star
league
player.
Jackson
screener
Hayes
in
is
the
better than
league.
Bobo.
No, and what I'm saying, well, even Jackson Hayes, but what I'm saying is I rather go with them Wangs, give me 2s and 3s, stock that up rather than go with a big in the top 5 because I think that the other translates better.
The Warriors never had a pick high enough to get an elite big man.
Before
Bogut.
that.
Bogut wasn't a pick. Bogut was a free agent. Bogut was a number 1 pick for the
that's
Bucks.
true. Okay. I was just thinking he was
2005.
number 1 pick. Yeah, you're right. He was Buck first.
So he was a draft pick.
No, but
they were taking like Kevon Looney in the 27th.
No, I'm
Yeah.
saying, but
Jordan Bell.
the drafts where they took like Steph Curry,
late.
Klay Thompson.
You're not gonna pass pass on those guys. They had
Whoa,
talent.
unless they're
You already-
Timberwolves.
And you already got those guys. You already have Trae Young, who's supposed to be your Steph. You already have the Herter, who's supposed to be your Klay Thompson. You already filled up the positions. So why would you go away from that? Go and get a big man.
More is never bad, and they're losing. Like,
Okay, but then you just got Cam Reddish.
but
Who's supposed to be
also
that guy.
you got to look
who's
at it
supposed to
this
fill out
way.
that roster.
Kent Bazemore, like, is he gonna keep that option? Is he gonna not take the option and move
19
on?
million's a lot.
You've
Yeah,
also
he's going to keep the option. He's
You've
not
also
passing up
got
19
Vince. Like, they've got two guards moving on. They have like is Torian Prince and Bembry. After this year, their RFAs. What's going to happen? It just adds more stability at that 2 and 3 spot. That's why I went with Culver and Langford there rather than going with a big.
I would rather go with a two guard later and get a guy who's a little bit older in the second round. And also, you're probably not going to be great again next year, so you're probably going to get a near top 10 pick. You can always just address the two guard position. I think.
But let's be honest. With how the Mavs are going, this might be the Mavs pick next time we draft.
I think
It's true.
I think that you go Hayes here. But let's talk about the Mavs just in case they do get this top 5 pick. What position do they need to fill out? Are they like a team like the Cavs, where it's really just pick any position that's going to fit?
Is this what this feels like? Like when I sit over there and throw curveballs at you guys, is that what
brought
this
this
feels
up.
like? Did you? 'Cause
Yeah,
don't
I said,
remember this.
I don't want to go too far in the second pick
Okay.
because I want to talk about the Mavs and what if they get this pick.
So Mavs at 5.
Yeah, Mavs at 5 or even higher. Let's say, I mean, obviously if they get number 1, they'll get Zion. But let's say 2 through 5. Like, what ideal prospect is there outside of Zion for the Mavs? Do you see on this team?
It's weird. It's weird because like logic would say go with like RJ Barrett, but they've already like I don't want to have overlap between he and Luka. So it's just like I don't know. That's a weird spot. Like it's I guess you take the best player available and you just hope that it's going to work out. I think would be the strategy for them because I don't think I take Ja if I get the number 2 overall pick. If I'm them, I take RJ Barrett probably.
This is one where it's not. This isn't a best pick for the Mavs. This is a best landing spot for a player. Cam Reddish. The reason why I say that is he's a guy right now that we're kind of volatile towards him. Of you're the third. Why are you doing like you were just basically like screaming and getting pretty heated about Cam Reddish?
I'm
not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying like the thing is people are volatile against Cam Reddish because he's the third one.
Well, I think we're just giving him credit because he was ranked 3 as a high school prospect.
But if you just watched his performance at Duke, there are a lot of questions on why he is
That's
so
my
highly
point.
rated.
I want to stop giving him credit for being on a Duke team.
Yeah.
He chose to go to college. Good for him.
What wouldn't be better for him than, hey, let's go to a situation where it's kind of like I watch the Mavericks and it's like loosey-goosey out there where like Luka has kind of like infected this team in a good way.
Yeah.
Where it's like his goofy personality has just got these guys. I know they're losing. Like they lost a lot this week.
They're advanced tanking.
But it's like they look loose and they look like, I mean, losing's not fun, but like Luka this season has looked like he's having fun out there.
Absolutely.
And this is a team where maybe with Luka being on there, maybe with Kristaps going to be coming back next year, that this could be a just positive environment for a Cam Reddish who his college career might be, I'm not going to say toxic, but like, oh man, there's a lot of negative right now just because of everything that's going on with his play. He's probably not happy that his play is like this. He probably wants to be playing better.
I would hope so.
And could be kind
100%.
of a good change of pace for Cam Reddish.
I'm not trying to bash the kid. I don't think he's a bad kid or anything like that. So if it's coming off too harsh, like okay, but I'm more yelling at like people who
want to elevate him above his performance.
What has he done? Like I think that I'm not wishing the worst on any of these prospects. I just don't know what Cam Reddish has done. That's all. Let's move now to the Grizzlies at 7. This is a team that I think is extremely fun. I have them going Sekou Doumbouya. Dave, you have them going Rui Hachimura.
Nope.
Sorry, you have them going Darius Garland. Ricky, you have them going Rui Hachimura. I think it would be extremely fun. Here's my thing with the Grizzlies. I think they should take Darius Garland. That was my thing.
Yeah.
But I want to see him on the Pelicans, so I put him there.
So
I'm going to
you
be
had that
clear and
selfish
transparent.
pick.
Yeah, I had the selfish pick.
Kinda
where
like
you
how
guys
Dave
last
was
year
John
had
the Bulls.
last mock you had Ja Morant to the Bulls.
Yeah.
I had him going to Darius
Dave.
Garland.
I did it because he was really going to fall.
Yeah,
there.
okay. I'll talk about Darius Garland to the Pelicans and why I like it later, but I just love that fit. So looking at this, I was like, all right, what other best player would be here? And I do really like Sekou Doumbouya. And also, he's so young. He's so raw. And this team is expecting to be bad. Why not be bad? So I
lean
really,
into it, baby.
Yeah, lean into it. Be bad. I think that Memphis can be a team of the future, especially with how young your two stars are going to be.
Yeah, who wants to compete now against the West? Like when you can go as young as Sekou Doumbouya, or when you can go
and Jaren Jackson.
And Jaren Jackson, that combo of like super young talent. I think that's super attractive for me.
And if you're looking at that length and that defense, holy shit.
Yeah, that's a good core to start with.
That
for
seems
me,
like Memphis. Gritty defense. Let's go.
It's the old Memphis, man, not the new Memphis. But for me, that Darius Garland was like the absolute like, oh yeah, he could play as a 2-guard next to Mike Conley day one, and then when Conley's contract is wrapped or you feel like moving on from him, he moves over to 1. Not a problem. He's already giving them exactly what they need. They need a score on this team to step up, and he can absolutely do that day one.
Can you imagine a pick and roll with him and Jaren Jackson? Holy shit.
It's dirty.
When Jaren Jackson fills out a little bit more, holy
Pick and pop.
fuck.
Dirty.
That's going to be nasty. Or even Jaren Jackson running through the lane. Like, that's going to be insane.
So, I love it.
I love both players. I don't really think the Grizzlies can go wrong with any pick.
I think you're a little high on Sekou, but like you're entitled to have your own opinion on that.
Yeah, I'm high. I mean, you guys have him going 15, so like I'm pretty high on him. But I also think that he is so
I've
raw.
had him pretty high in the
so
past.
young.
It's just,
he's raw.
I
he's
kind of
young.
fall in and out of love with Euro players. So
He's raw. He's young.
Except
he's
for
shown
Luka.
the ability to
hard
run in
not to love that
transition. He's shown the ability to play defense.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to be a guy that rises rather than falls. Maybe it's too high of a rise, but I like Sekou, and I want to put him on people's radar. So Sekou going 7 to the Grizzlies.
No, I mean, for me, it was like the Grizzly pick to me is kind of too easy here because it's BPA or Darius Garland. And for me, I might be rolling the dice, and I even tried to look up for if there's way too earlys for next year's draft to see what our point guard class might look like. But that is the dice that I am willing to roll if I'm Memphis of like, yeah, we can take Darius Garland, like Dave said, and like have him be here. Then once Conley's either traded or, well, let's be honest, traded. I don't think he sees the end of that contract in Memphis. Then we move Garland over, or let's just take the BPA player here, and next we'll kick that point guard can down the road, kind of like what we did with
bad
Marc
enough
Gasol.
to keep their pick.
Exactly. Which they should be, because I don't think they're like, and this is a shot at Memphis fans. I know Dave takes numerous shots at you guys. But I
Really
mean,
not that bad about it.
it's just, I look at it and I go, could have went Darius Garland here, but I'm going to go my BPA, which was Rui, and then just kick that point guard can down the road until after they trade Mike Conley eventually.
Yeah, I think Garland or Doumbouya is a pick. But again, I picked selfishly and went with Garland. Hachimura would be interesting too, just because a slasher would be a fun player with Conley.
And you've got Rui as your BPA, I know from your big board standpoint, right?
Yeah, I was looking like the only one that kind of fit out of this was Romeo. Like Romeo and Rui were flipped on my big board, but this was one where really the Hawks, the talent acquisition thing I said, probably should have went Rui. But I decided to switch it up and put Langford there and Rui here.
Dave, if they don't go Garland, who do you think they go for? Who's available on your board?
I might go safe and go DeAndre Hunter and just drop it down one. Part of me wants to believe in Kevin Porter Jr. more than I've like. Nothing about anything I've seen makes me want to say Kevin Porter Jr. deserves to be this high of a pick, but his game has that potential to be special.
Yeah,
and I think that's why he's been rising back up boards right away.
He's got an ugly free throw.
Yeah, he does,
and he's got an ugly shot. He's got like this weird he's got it like tucked in like this. It's a very weird shot if you get a close up of Kevin Porter's just jump shot or free throw.
Yeah.
I was watching that and I was like, he's fun, he's exciting, but I was just watching that and I was like, that's ugly.
Yeah. But it'd be super exciting to have him on the Grizzlies.
Yeah, if he pans out, I mean, he's a very highlight reel player. He's very exciting. Let's move now to the Wizards. I have DeAndre Hunter, Ricky Bobo, and Dave. We have DeAndre Hunter as well. Just
self-harm.
Beal. Jesus.
Wow.
Do not self-harm yourself.
No, I'm not saying to. I'm saying that was the comment. Correct?
I know, it was. Wall, Beal,
taken
Hunter.
out of context, that would be really bad.
Yeah, it is.
So, Dave, what do you like the most? Self-harm.
Wall, Beal, Hunter. I think that's a good 1, 2, 3. The 4 and 5s are a little iffy there because are they going to reset Ariza? Thomas Bryant's been decent for them.
Weird, yeah.
So that's a little iffy, but I think you got to go with a player who's going to be able to play along veterans, and that's DeAndre Hunter. And I know people, some Wizards fans aren't a huge fan of it, but he's going to be a guy that's a complimentary piece. He's the guy that you want an Otto Porter to be.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I picked him.
And you're not paying him 40 something.
Yeah, you're paying him 27 a year.
$27 million a year. Yeah.
So I really like they're paying John Wall 40 a year.
There we go.
I really like the DeAndre Hunter fit for them. Ricky, though, you had Ball going over Hunter.
I almost put Hunter here also.
It's exciting though.
But here's the reason why, and I want to ask this question. Eventually, they're going to realize they drafted Troy Brown Jr., right? Like, eventually...
He's got minutes lately.
Eventually, they're going to be like, you know what? I know we're losing because they could re-sign players. But, like, Ariza, Wesley Johnson, Sam Decker, Jeff Green, all free agents at the end. Decker's the only one that has the RFA. So, eventually, it's like, well, you drafted Troy Brown. He should get more minutes next year, right? Is he going to grow into that small forward spot that you were hoping for? And then I looked over at power forwards. I'm like, yeah, Jabari's probably gone at the end of the year, but Bobby Portis, they could pay up to get Bobby Portis to keep him here. And I just looked at centers. I was like, what, Dwight and Jan Mahimi? No, thank you. I'll take Ball. I'll let him, like, of course, the combine is going to be the big decider with him. Is he going to fall or rise? But at this point, I'm not a future teller. And I'll take that dice right now without knowing that, and then get a high pick next year because I don't think John Wall and Bradley Beal are going to make this team a finals contender, playoff team, playoff contender, all the above.
Yeah, no, I think it's all the reasons. If you want to hear my opinion on Bull, check out our last mailbag.
Yeah.
In which case, I blew Sean out of the water.
Oh, shut up.
And I mean, look, it's an exciting
Dwight
pick.
Howard.
His upside is insane. Even if he's a limited minutes player,
Even if he's made out of glass.
he still has one of the best shooting strokes for a big man that we've ever seen.
And he can shoot from distance as well.
Yeah.
When he's out on the floor, but he's going to break down.
If he breaks
He also can't play
But he-
defense against a grown man.
No, he can't.
So-
But if he plays 20 minutes, he can score 20 points. Kind of a guy. Like that's what you're getting. Remember what percentage is he shooting from three? Was because he's not actually playing in the
I
game.
think 41%.
More.
Was it?
Dave Moore.
It was not more. He was not shooting more than 41% from three.
He was shooting
52.
52. But he's taking like 3 a game.
Yeah, he's taking 3 a game.
That's a not terrible amount
That's
for a
still
7'3" kid.
Shut
Shut
that's
up.
good.
Yeah. Bag o' dicks. That's what you're eating over there.
I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see it. He's not worth it.
Do you think,
in my opinion.
mean, his shooting percentage could drop off 11 points. He'd still be shooting 40% from three. As a
Sick,
7'3".
dude. He's playing 5 minutes a
Sick,
game.
No,
bruh.
he'd be playing 15. If Bobby can get in games for 15 minutes, you tell me he can't. He spaces the floor.
Okay, but then what if he's not going to... Whatever. I mean, if he's going up against Joel Embiid, if you're playing the Wizards and Joel Embiid, you're putting ball against Joel Embiid, he's going to break.
He's playing the 4 against Joel Embiid. So he doesn't have to play him.
Tobias Harris might break him too.
No, I'd take that matchup all
What if you
day.
put Bobby on Bobo? Who's going to win?
Oh my God.
Bobby on Bowley.
He'll actually die then.
He will break him in half.
All right, let's move
Bobby
on.
and Bowley?
No.
No,
No,
I
that's
tried to get him to
Bully.
rhyme.
You don't bully.
Let's move on. This is
DBZ.
this segment's losing steam. I just think Bobo's a huge reach there.
It's high upside for a lot of potential loss, though.
It's a swing.
It's a
It could be
swing.
a big miss.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're looking at a guy who could never play in the NBA consistently.
Yeah. Let's move now to the Pelicans. This is what I want to talk about. My boy Darius Garland. Darius Garland for me, DeAndre Hunter for Ricky, and then Kevin Porter for Dave.
Talk about swings.
I just look at the ability now, because you were talking about moving Darius Garland to 2 with Mike Conley.
Yeah.
Now you
Not
can
a
move,
problem.
Now you can move Drew to the 2 where he's more comfortable.
I'm telling you,
And
Alfred
then-
Payton playing the 1.
And then
Triple-double machine out there.
You could have Alfred Payton coming off the bench. And then you have Darius Garland playing the 1. You give all the money in the world to Julius Randle. If you have Darius Garland, Drew Holiday, and Julius Randle, that might become my favorite team.
And Jaleel Okafor at the 5.
Yes, a bench 5, a bench depth of Julius Randle, or
more
your
so
center
than
depth
the
of Julius
Nuggets?
Randle, Ja Okafor, and Chuck Diallo.
Oh my
yes,
God.
please. But no, Darius Garland, lightning quick reflexes. Guy can shoot. Guy can put up stats like nothing. I think if you give him a 26% usage in the NBA, he might put up 26 a night.
He's got a Kyrie Irving-esque start to his career, wouldn't you say? I mean, they both were incredible high school prospects. Obviously, Kyrie was a little bit higher, but they hit that college level, and you saw instantly what made them special. The scoring rate is incredible from both of them. I think Kyrie's a better passer and has better handles.
Yeah.
Notably,
also bigger.
some of the best handles in the NBA. But Darius Garland has that scoring potential right alongside him.
Yeah.
So I think that you absolutely want to take a shot at him because the upside's incredible.
And again, just thinking about that, him and Drew Holiday, like that's a perfect backcourt. Like I love that.
It's pretty good.
You know, you look at Drew Holiday offensively can pass the ball
You think
around.
Drew Holiday stays on the team?
He can
long term?
I mean, he's signed.
That doesn't mean much.
But right now, they haven't been like I know they've been bad recently, but even when AD was out, like they were playing well to start. So I don't think this team's totally screwed if they want to try to make a playoff run, re-sign Julius Randle, and try to fill out that roster around them because they're not really in cap hell anymore. They got rid of Ashik's contract. They got rid of Agencia's contract. Solomon Hill's a bad contract. But overall, I think they're going to have some money. Drew Holiday's going to be making the most if they trade AD at like $24 million. So I really like what this team could do. And you had a guard who could score. That's going to be interesting because if Randall could put up 20, Garland could put up 20, and Drew could put up 15, 7, and then 2 steals, this could be a very, very interesting team. And you get a 3-and-D wing, I think the Pelicans could be something that, maybe not a force to be reckoning with at all, but a team that could, possibly make the playoffs. And if San Antonio gets way too old, and they're not able to, do what they're doing right now, I think this could be a team that make the playoffs if they get Darius Garland and he's healthy and is able to score at the rate I think he is able to. But Ricky, you end up going DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, and the reason why I almost had them go Darius Garland.
But I just think it's such a good fit.
The thing I thought about, I was looking on Spot Rack, and I'm like, you know what? I know that you can have your opinion. I know that UFA at the end of the year, anything can happen. But Alfred Payton, you could bring him back. He'd be a cheaper player. If you wanted to, you could do then separate options. This is with me taking DeAndre Hunter. You could throw it out there and have either Drew at the 1, Etuan Moore at the 2, and then Hunter at the 3. Or we're going to have Peyton play the 1. Drew's going to move over to the 2, which we've talked about before. Might have been a little bit more comfortable there, especially when he was with Rondo. And then have Hunter at the 3, because they could even throw, if they wanted to, in free agency. Like, if they were wanting to get a 2, if they want to keep Drew at the 1, J.J. Redick, Danny Green, Terrence Ross, all these ones outside of the Jimmy Butler and Klay Thompson. And if you're looking hey, let's have a better point guard, same ones that you threw out earlier. Hey, you can bring in Derrick Rose for a manageable contract. You can bring in Ricky Rubio, Rajon Rondo again. What can we do here? And I look at DeAndre Hunter, and the best thing I like about him is 2 things. 1, he's going to know his role because he's an older player and he's kind of I know what I do well. And 2, what he does well is, although it's not of great volume, it's that 2.5 we saw from the ball, but he makes his 3-pointers and he plays defense. And some of the best Pelican playoff series I saw was when they had guys on the outside that could lock down elite defenders. And that's for the Pelicans. I would say, hey, Drew's gonna be our guy. We can get either a 2 or a point guard to kind of play next to him in free agency, and then this could be our defensive guy at the 3.
I know the Pelicans don't go to the playoffs often. That was just a perfect matchup for them.
Maybe
just a defensive matchup with CJ and Dame. I think that also you had Anthony Davis on the team, which is going to help your defense.
Well,
I
technically
think that
you still have him on the team right now.
Yeah, they're going to need to find the identity once they trade him, and I think that. Hunter's definitely an interesting pick.
Do you think that his defense
I think you need to go for a superstar.
Overrated at this point because of the team he plays on? I know a lot of people have him mocked as one of the best defenders in the league, especially on the wing, saying he can go 1 through 4 and shit like that.
Yes and no, because he's not the best defender in the class. I think it's Zion.
Zion or Matthias.
Oh yeah, fuck Matthias.
The guy averaging
we'll take
3.5 steals and 2 blocks.
We'll talk about lottery guys because Matthias Thybulle's a fucking monster. But I think Zion's the best defender in this draft. or at least potential to become a defender.
Yeah.
But also, you look at Hunter, like, yes, it's overrated because Virginia's so good, but then you also saw what happened when Virginia wasn't having DeAndre Hunter on the field and on the floor, and they lost to a 16 seed.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and that was
UMBC.
clear cause and effect. He goes out, they were great, and they
Yeah.
lose to a 16 seed. He was such
So
a huge
part
part
system,
to this team.
but he's also warranted in his ranking.
I don't think he's a
Okay.
system defender. I think the system helps him.
Okay.
But I think he's still going to be a good defender in the NBA.
Cool.
So I think it's a good question. Definitely,
Yeah.
I think that he's overrated and yet underrated. Because like he's not a flashy special player like a Zion Williamson, but he is a very good. He's a glue guy.
He's a glue guy.
He's one of those glue guys.
You
know?
take a glue guy with the top 10 pick?
Yeah. Yeah.
We all have
Done
the
it
top
before.
10.
We don't. But that's the thing is like.
This draft class is so weak that we do.
There was
I'll say it.
Brett Coleman did
On paper,
an
it is.
NFL draft breakdown of Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa. And they were like, their top ends aren't like Khalil Mack's, but also their floor is so higher than what Khalil Mack coming out of college. So like, yes, their ceiling isn't a number 1 overall pick, best defensive end in the league, but their floor is a top 10 defensive end. And I think Hunter's potential is he's not going to be a all-star, but he's not going to be a bad starter.
Right.
Like he's going to be, when we do our positional rankings, he's going to probably be around 13 or even 10 at some point. But he's never going to be like 5. Like he's going to be a good forward. And if
That
you're
Joe Ingles level starter.
yeah, kind of. Maybe a little bit better than Ingles.
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves now.
Jingles is
Big Joe.
31. Imagine what DeAndre Hunter's gonna be at 31.
That's true. Got a long time to go.
I just think that
Actually, not as long as we'd hope, because he's already 20. Is he 21?
yeah, I think he's 21. I'll check. Yeah, he's 21. He'll be 22 December 2nd.
Okay.
So I just think that he's an interesting player that I think people are overlooking just because he's not flashy.
Yeah. That's fair.
Let's move to Kevin Porter and then we'll end it up with the Lakers. What do you like about Kevin Porter and the Pelicans?
He's dope. He's a shot creator. He's exciting as hell to watch. He's kind of got that. I've got the feeling of watching him at USC that there is something they're doing wrong. Like, because they're not making him the focal point of their team, because they like using Boatwright as, the 3-point fucking gunner on the outside, they're wasting the talent in him. And I think that part of this is probably because he's definitely disengaged himself from the team. Like, there was some locker room conversations.
Is it because of what happened like earlier in the year that we talked about? What warranted warranted, but what caused the suspension? Maybe?
Correct. I think there's some extracurriculars that built into this situation becoming
Too much Fortnite.
I mean, it might
Too much Fortnite.
It
man.
might be, but I think there's something that went terribly wrong at his time to the point where the coach doesn't trust him and his teammates maybe don't trust him. And this is me maybe reading too much into it, so don't take it for word. But what I see out there is a guy who, when he gets the ball in his hands, he can be special, and they have not given him that opportunity often. In the last loss against Washington this past, literally yesterday, 17 points, efficient, got a couple boards, got a steal off a loose ball. Like, he just looks good, and he can create his own shot off of mistakes from teammates. Basically, just put the ball in his hands and let him go to work, and I absolutely love that. Can he be a better passer? Absolutely. But right now, I think he's just a selfish kid, and maybe there's a lot of mental that needs to be built up, and putting him on a team with a Drew Holiday, I think, could really help his game go a long way.
And the thing, too, with Porter, some people are going to knock his production. I just knocked Cam Reddish. He's putting up 9 points a game. But also, you got to take in that suspension into action. He's also shooting well from the outside. He's shooting 41% on 68 attempts and 47% from the field. He's not going to be that good of a three-point shooter in the NBA.
Right.
You could look at the free throw percentage of 52%. That's bad.
His
but
free
also
throws got a weird, like you said earlier.
Yeah, he's got a weird
It's
hitch.
like a weird roll of the wrist in the middle.
Yeah, he's got a very bad form. He needs to work with Drew Hanlon.
Yes.
But that's something that is definitely worrisome. But you look at when he has the opportunity and the ball in his hands, when he gets 8 or more shots a game, and he's gotten that 9 of the 21 games he's played. There's only one time where he's been under 10 points, and he had 7. He was 3 of 8 from the field. But outside that, 6 of 8, 5 of 9, 4 of 10, 6 of 10, 5 of 10, 5 of 11, 4 of 12. 6 of 16. He's always been above. He's always been a double-digit scorer when he gets those opportunities. So I think he's going to be that at an NBA level. He might need to rework his game a little, but he's still very young. He's got good handles. He's got good athleticism. And if the thing that he got suspended for wasn't too serious, I think he's going to rise on draft boards just because he does have that potential. That is very intriguing. But let's move to the final pick. It's the Lakers. I have Kobe White going to the Lakers. Ricky, you have Jackson Hayes. And Dave, you have Keldon Johnson going there. So we'll get the guy that we already talked about off the board. Ricky, why do you like Jackson Hayes to the Lakers?
You know, the Lakers are a team where I feel like the big question here, obviously, is how much are you going to, pursue Anthony Davis? Are you even going to get Anthony Davis? Because I continue to see things like, the Pelicans, rumors are they have no, intent to trade him to the Lakers whatsoever. So because of that, you got to go a different way. That's why you go Jackson Hayes. I don't think AD is going to be a Laker. I think the Lakers are going to have to plant that pivot foot and go with plan B if Anthony Davis was plan A. And to me, it's like, well, I'm not going to load up on more guys at different positions. The reason why I didn't have him go a point guard is they have Lonzo Ball. The reason why I didn't have him go this is they have Kyle Kuzma, they have Brandon Ingram. The one position that they will need desperately in free agency and the draft is the center. Take Jackson Hayes, close out the top 10.
Mm-hmm. Dave, talk about your pick for the Lakers and Keldon Johnson.
Didn't have Jackson Hayes on the board, so it makes it a little easier from the Lakers standpoint. I don't think they reach on any of the centers further down in this draft.
Not going to go a ball at 10?
No, geez, that would be awful. I mean, actually...
It'd be awful.
It would be awful, but also super fun.
A fun offense.
Super fun, awful.
It'd be awful.
Running the break in the Luke Walton offense.
He'd break his leg.
Trailing threes, baby. Trailing threes on the fast break all day. But no, Keldon Johnson, I mean, the kid's a two-way monster. Absolutely high-energy player, always locked in. Inconsistent with his scoring.
Yeah.
Which can be a problem at times, you know? Mm-hmm. But on the upside, you know, when he gets hot, he's a really good player. But I like the fact that you get a two-way player who can score double digits most nights, and when he scores double, he is money efficiency-wise. So
yeah, he's very inconsistent. That's the thing I want to bring up because I don't have him that high. I mean, I this draft's bad, so I have him going 11. But
it's his versatility that's attractive though, because of his size, he can guard 1 through 3 pretty well.
My thing is I know I'm saying I'm not high on him. He's going on the next pick, but it's just I felt bad putting him where I put him. I was just I don't have that feeling behind him, and I think it's just because you're talking about that inconsistency. And to bring that up, his last 7 games, and this is not including the game Kentucky's currently playing against Tennessee, because I don't know those numbers. But he is I don't have the totals on here, which is annoying.
Kentucky versus Tennessee, he put up 15 points.
What is he shooting from 3? Because that's an important thing.
1 of 2.
Okay.
That's over now.
Yeah, he has. Who won? Kentucky.
Tennessee.
Okay.
82-78.
So the Keldon Johnson in the past 7 games, we could just make it 8 now. 21% from the line and 60% from the 21% from 3, 60% from the line. And you have games of 1 of 2, 0 of 1, 1 of 1, 1 of 2, 1 of 5, 0 of 1, 0 of 2, 0 of 2. He's scoring 10 points per game in those. And I just feel I'm worried about how consistent can he be, because he even has games where he's grabbing 11 boards, 17 boards, 10 boards. I have a worry about what he's going to be in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And then if you put him on the Lakers, a team that has so many problems of who's going to be on this team.
True.
Is he going to be playing next to Lonzo Ball? Is he going to be playing against next to Ingram and Kuzma? Or is it going to be AD and Kawhi or AD and Klay Thompson and LeBron James? What is this team going to look like? And is Keldon Johnson, while he is versatile, will he be able to get the touches that he needs to be effective on the offensive end? Because I don't see him outside of anything that is really a 3-and-D shooter, and then also a scorer. I see him as a scorer, but that's about it.
I think,
and I don't think he's a dead-eye 3. That's the thing that I think. No. I think you need a shooter the most out of him, and that's why I was worried about putting Keldon Johnson in the Lakers.
But he is a high-energy guy who absolutely plays up to the occasion and tries to, like you said, he had games with double-digit rebounds, and that's a thing you don't see out of most normal guards. It's one of those things where he's going after it. He's aggressive about it, and to have someone who you don't have to motivate to play engaged, I think that's something that the Lakers do need. They need somebody when Josh Hart wasn't hurt, he was able to do that. Mm-hmm. And Josh Hart, has been basically a shell of himself since that second month of the year, since he's been struggling with nagging injuries. And hopefully, he's healthy and everything gets fixed. But this is a guy who's locked in, always energy, and even if his offensive game's not hitting, you don't have to devote a ton of shots to him. He can be an off-ball option, and he can be giving you, 90% of his energy on the defensive end.
Yeah, the thing, though, is, when he's not working through the offense, you only saw 10 points a game from him in that stretch that I was talking about, and he wasn't efficient. So that's the thing that I worry about is, he's not efficient in an off-ball. He hasn't been super efficient in an off-ball role, and that's what he's going to be playing if he goes to the Lakers with a Lonzo Ball, an Ingram, and a LeBron James, clearly. So that's the thing that I worry about is, like, will he get lost offensively? And yes, he can bring great defense, but you have that in Lonzo Ball. And, like, is he going to be Lonzo level? And not shot-wise, because he's going to come in with a better shot at Lonzo.
He's been playing off ball because Tyler Hero's exploded.
Mm-hmm. But he hasn't been playing well off ball, so that's the thing.
I mean, you say not playing well. I say they won, like 6 of their last 7.
Lost today.
I'm saying him personally.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that worries me. We're not drafting the Kentucky team to play for the Lakers. We're drafting Keldon Johnson.
Right.
So I just worry about that. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing a 7-game stretch, which could be totally true. But I just look at it, I'm worried a little bit. I have him going Kobe White because I know obviously Lonzo is on the team right now and he's going to be their point guard if they play. But if they do move AD, they're going to need a point guard. And even if they don't, I think they can experiment a lot with lineups. Lonzo's a great defender, and he's a great passer. But I think he has the size to play a 2-guard. He doesn't have the ability to play off ball like you want in a 2-guard. But I think Kobe White does, and Kobe White's shooting 81% from the line. He's got a nice shot from the outside, shooting 36% from 3, and he could put up points. And he's a guy that can get hot. And if he's getting hot from the outside, shooting 6 of 11 like he did in the Clemson game, or 4 of 10 like he was in the Duke game, that's a guy that I think could be absolutely dangerous and filthy on this team because he's going to give you scoring from a guard position that a guy like Rajon Rondo wasn't, or Lance Stevenson, or Kentavious Caldwell-Pope wasn't. Obviously, you have this lineup, if you don't get AD and you don't move him away, of Lonzo, Ingram, James, Kuzma, and X center. But Kobe White coming in and providing that scoring from that guard position, I think would be huge because Ingram has been playing in 2-guard when they were winning games. But he wasn't putting up those points that we saw later in the season. Lonzo was out, and we saw him obviously have a different role, and Ingram was putting up like 27. But when Lonzo was in there, he wasn't having those games. I think Kobe White at least can come in and provide that guard scoring that might not be there if Lonzo and Ingram are on their game. So I think that would be a guy who especially can shoot from the outside. And he's right now playing on a very veteran-heavy team, and he's playing extremely well. I think Kobe White is a guy that we've seen him play, and there's sometimes people have compared him. I know Jake's one of them. Compared him to a light Kyrie, and I know that was Darius Garland's thing. But the way he can score, the way he can move, the way he can pass. There was a pass in that Duke game where Cam Johnson's on his right. There's 2 Duke guys closing in, and he's looking at Cam, no look pass to Nasir Little cutting baseline, fits it beautifully through the hole, and it was just a perfect way to run a 4-on-3 fast break. So I just like his ability to move. I think he's going to work well in the transition game that LA really thrives in. And he could shoot the ball and he could score. So I think he's a guy that would be really interesting on that Laker team.
I like him a lot, and he's risen up my board. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's a 10 pick yet. Like that's the thing. It's like I think he's close. I do have them as a toss-up between the 2 guys, but it just the ability to guard wings for me from Keldon Johnson is the intriguing. Right now, that's giving me the benefit for Keldon. Mm-hmm. I think everything you said about Kobe White is correct, though. Yeah. Like, he's got that potential. I don't like the Kyrie thing, but that's...
I think it was just because he put up 34 and he was just scoring like crazy.
But, I mean, the volume shooting from 3 is already enticing. The fact that he's hitting it at a decent clip right now, everything about that veteran-heavy team with Roy Williams as a coach, like, he's heavily coachable. Mm-hmm. He plays in a great system, and the fact that he's willing to take on whatever role is necessary. Because we watched this year as he transitioned from young rookie with a role to becoming a leader on the team as a rookie.
He'll do whatever LeBron wants him to. He'll do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think him and Josh Hart would be an interesting pair coming off the bench too at that 1 and 2. That's it, right? For the 1 2.
We got every team.
Longest.
Sorry.
Yeah,
every team, and they got some good minutes.
And they got a bonus one on the Mavs.
Good minutes.
A hypothetical Mavs.
All right, so
even the Knicks and Zion, 11. Who Sean was like, do we really need to talk about
20 minutes.
Zion to the Knicks?
Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, 1 through 10. We'd love to hear what you think, and also don't forget we still have the mailbag. It feels like a different day.
It's just a snappy, hour 30.
Hour 41
Hour
right
41.
now.